Thank you for joining me today for Geezers of Gear, episode number 240. This podcast is brought to you today by Ultimate Support Systems. This stand right here, this boom arm is from Ultimate Support, and it's amazing. I do love it, and I'm not just saying that because they sponsor us. Do you rely on iPads or other tablet devices for your podcast performances, studio work, or presentations? The new UTH 100, which I also own, from Ultimate Support uses a dual approach design to reliably support a wide variety of current gen tablets. The included mic stand clamp allows this sturdy support design to easily attach common tablet models to mic stands for on-stage and in-studio use. Thanks to the unique support arms that flex to cradle your tablet, this device can be used with large tablets like the iPad Pro range of tablets. The wide range of movement available to the arms allows them to be adjusted for a variety of scenarios. Support your investment with a design you can trust. Learn more about the UTH 100 from Ultimate Support at www.ultimatesupport.com. This episode is also brought to you by GearSource. GearSource was founded in 2002 with a mission to help global events businesses to move gear around the planet. Since that time, the company has transacted in more than 100 countries and has sold $250 million in sound, lighting, staging, and video gear. Now, GearSource has completely evolved its platform for massive global growth, enabling 14 different localized currencies, payments held in escrow to protect buyers and sellers, AI-powered logistics behind a new global logistics brand, GearMoves, and so much more. Visit GearSource.com today and expand your access to global markets for your gear and global gear for your markets. Well, hello, and welcome back to episode number 240. They're moving along now, moving along. And we almost lost one, so this could have actually been 239. But last night, miraculously, in combination between my software company, tech team, and myself and my own ingenuity and stubbornness, I guess it comes down to, I was able to save the Glenn Rogaman from AED podcast. It's been my life's mission for the last week or so. I'm recording this the same day I was able to launch it. So I launched it last night, and it was funny because I woke up this morning and there were already like 100 downloads of it or something. So just on Spotify. So that's in addition to whatever. I haven't looked at YouTube yet or Apple Music or any of those things. But yeah, I mean, it was incredible because it was corrupt. Like, that file was as bad as I've ever run into on my podcast, and I've lost a couple. But this one we refused to lose, and we were able to save it. So it's good because it's actually a pretty good discussion between him and I that happened about a week ago. So what else is going on? I must have been stuck in the dark ages because I didn't realize that there was another residency going into the Sphere. And that, I think, starts in the next couple of days, maybe even today. But it's Fish, and they're doing, I think, just 4 nights, I believe. And, you know, I'm probably a little bit ignorant to the whole Fish thing. I never caught on. It never got me, I guess. And so I couldn't tell you the name of any of their songs. I just remember their guy's name is Anastasia, I think, the singer. But, you know, I know that Fish has that whole vibe, the whole sort of stoner vibe about them. It's sort of like Grateful Dead, but from the 2000s or whatever. And so I just envisioned this bunch of really wasted fish fans, dancing around in colorful clothes and mesmerized by the world's biggest TV screen in front of them. I mean, what a perfect, other than Pink Floyd, I probably don't know of many more perfect bands than Phish or Grateful Dead as far as being like really super visual and really lending themselves well to having, the biggest indoor, display in the world's biggest television. So I think that'll be really cool. Also, I think Abby Rosenholmes designed it or is designing it. I think it'll be spectacular, not only from a technology standpoint because of the sphere, et cetera, but I think also just from a design and I'm sure some of the creative is going to also be mind-blowing. So I won't be there, but I am looking forward to not only people who are listening to this who might be going to that show. I know a few crazed Phish fans. One that comes to mind is Troy Dockery. I remember Troy used to travel all over the country to go see Phish multiple times. He'd go for a week and see 4 Phish shows in a week or whatever. I know a few of those people, and again, I'm just not one of them, but I look forward to seeing video and pictures and stuff. And I also wanted to stick with this sort of AI discussion series that I've been doing over the past probably couple of months. But this morning during my walk, I walk about 4 miles every morning, and this morning I tripped over a recent, I think just yesterday it came out, Tucker Carlson interview with Mike Rowe. And I know a lot of people are going to cringe and roll your eyes because I just said Tucker Carlson. Sorry. It's like a dirty word, I know. But I happen to like his interviewing style, and I don't care about his politics, of course, but I just think he's a smart guy and he does a pretty good interview. But Mike Rowe's a cool guy, the Dirty Jobs guy, Mike Rowe. But they talked about AI, and it made a lot of sense. Like Mike Rowe basically said he sees AI helping people to become much more well-rounded. He thinks that that's the modern sort of blue-collar worker is now wearing a bit of a white collar. And, plumbers who study poetry or marketing or finance and philosophers knowing how to change their own oil in their car or whatever. Really, AI, as we've discussed recently, supporting humans versus replacing us was pretty much the discussion. But it's worth listening to. It's a pretty good discussion. It didn't get political, and they didn't even complain about the president or anything. So go ahead and listen if you're interested. One of the news stories I saw yesterday, I think, was Google cutting finance people and reinvesting that money into AI investments instead. So people might be going, aha, that's it. That's the evil that we were looking for. They're getting rid of humans and replacing them with AI. That's not the story. The story is they're shifting investments and hiring more AI people as opposed to finance people. And so they're not getting rid of finance people and putting computers in their places. They're getting rid of finance people and reinvesting that money into AI teams. So it's a shift, not a net loss of jobs, is what I would say. And probably I would guess that AI people are going to make more money than finance people. So probably it's a net gain if you look at wages or whatever direction you want to go with that. This one's interesting and kind of scary. The CEO of an AI company called Anthropic says that by next year, AI models could be able to replicate and survive in the wild, meaning that not sentient, because sentient is the one that everybody's worried about, where basically AI can think and feel and have emotions and make decisions based on that. This is more about just AI adapting to what's going on around it and not only surviving, but replicating itself, creating more AI. And so that one, his prediction that that's going to happen by next year has some people going, huh? Raising some eyebrows and stuff. That's a crazy and interesting one. And as far as cool apps, one of the ones that I've tripped over recently is, and I'm not going to use names because they're not supporting me, and I'm not sponsoring, they're not sponsoring me, etc. But it's a reading app that allows you to, and there's a bunch of them out there, but it allows you to basically read a summarized book in minutes. And so it's not like a book summary thing club or something like that. Basically, you can input a book into it and it'll read it in a few minutes and give you the important bits and take out all the fluff. And that's a really interesting one to me. I forget which podcaster. It's Jay Shetty has this whole speed reading method that I have adopted somewhat. I haven't perfected it, but basically it allows him to read, I think, a book a day or something when he was in the becoming a monk or whatever. He's reading a book a day. I can't do that. I mean, but I can definitely read faster. And basically it's reading the first and last line of a paragraph and skipping everything in between. And the stuff in between is just color. The facts all happen in the first line or the last line of a paragraph. So, I already do a bit of that, but I think AI probably winds that up even a lot better than that and does a pretty good job of it. So moving on to today, episode number 240. So David Haskell has been on Gears of Gear twice, and this will be his third time today. So the first time was back sort of in the old world, let's call it, which is pre-pandemic. And that was in May of 2019 on episode number 17. And then again in 2021, he came on in his new gig on episode number 138, where him and his sort of co-management team at Gateway came on. That was a really interesting one when they announced sort of the whole Gateway thing and what they were doing there. And we talked about that. You can find both of those, of course, on gearsofgear.com. You can just put in the episode number 17 or 138. That'll give you a lot of David Haskell's background. I don't like to go into that again when they've been on the podcast before. Oh, so where were you born? Where did you go to school? What did you do first? Who was your first job? Who was your first tour? I love doing that with people who have never been on the podcast, but if you've been on it, we're not going to cover that again. So David has been in the industry more than 40 years. He was president at Morris Sound and Light for quite some time before SoloTech acquired Morris. I think that was in 2021, I believe. And David is now the president of business development at Gateway Studios and Production Services, or GSPS. Gateway Studios and Production Services offer turnkey production service solutions for the live music touring, motion picture, television, and corporate event industries. Gateway Studios, scheduled to open this year with more than 300,000 square feet. Gateway will be the largest and most technologically advanced facility of its kind in the U.S. David is also a lover of animals and supports the St. Thomas Humane Society. And I like David. I think he's a very cool dude, and I'm looking forward to catching up with him. So here we go. Hello there, David.
Hello, Marcel.
What's going on, man?
Hey, man.
It's been
hanging on a fabulous Thursday. How about yourself?
It's been a wacky 3 years since last time I spoke to you on this podcast with your co-contributors.
3 years?
2021, yeah, I think so.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Time
it does move fast when you're old, doesn't it?
A little too quick for both of us right now, I think. That's the thing.
Indeed.
It's like I've got a big birthday this year, and
yep.
I ain't looking
what are you
forward
hitting?
to it. I'm hiding from it. 60.
What are you hitting? 60. I got you by a couple of years, but
yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
it's a big one now.
I don't think I ever thought I was going to turn 60. Not saying that I was going to die before 60, but I just thought I could keep kicking that can down the road, but all of a sudden there's the can.
What's the line? Yeah, if I knew I was going to live this long, I'd have taken better care of myself.
No shit, right? Like
that's our previous conversation.
That's all of us, though. That's literally all of us. Like I kind of hate going to trade shows these days in one sense because I love seeing all my friends, but I'm seeing people that I'm looking at them going, God damn it, you need to get yourself in better shape, buddy. Because yeah, it's like we're at that age now where it really is starting to matter.
Your health is your wealth, is what the wise man once told me.
Yeah. Actually, Wiseman told me that.
Oh,
yeah. John Wiseman told me that. He had a scare like last year. I don't remember if it was prostate cancer, but he ended up getting like some crazy cutting edge robotic surgery, and it knocked it right out of him. He's
Good for
completely
him.
cancer free. But
Yay.
yeah, I mean, Wiseman in his case, I think he's been well pickled.
Yeah. I've been well pickled with him a couple of times, probably through the years. I think we all have.
He certainly tried to destroy himself, but didn't manage to succeed, fortunately, because I happen to like him. Yeah, that's the thing. I like all of these guys, all of you guys, all of us. Like, it's such a great community, but unfortunately, people are dropping. Our good buddy Cosmo. Like, I don't know anybody with more friends than Cosmo.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But the downside of that is he's always posting on Facebook, obituaries, basically.
Yeah. Well, he's cataloging a lot of things. Who knows for what reasons? Down the future, maybe one day, if anybody, he would be the ultimate guy to write a book.
You didn't know? He's writing one.
Huh?
He's writing one.
Well, okay. Well, I can't.
You didn't
know
if it was public?
Everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he's been doing that for a few years now. So yeah, that'll be fun when it comes out. He'll have some stories. But in classic Cosmo, like, I'd almost rather, Creech write a book, because he's gonna rip on everybody.
Absolutely.
Whereas Cosmo will only write the good things. He won't write any of the bad things. He's just that kind of a gentle giant of a guy,
Yeah.
Cosmo's still involved with you guys, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, he does business development with us. When he's around. But he's a working machine, man. He just got back from 3 months over there with Judas Priest, and he's leaving next week to go start AC/DC over there. So I think
Aerosmith is fitting in there somewhere.
It's that guy is the god of his luck, and as far as timing and scheduling goes, it's like it's
all or nothing, literally.
And it works for him, thank goodness.
It is bizarre, man. Like, he's got 3 massive bands that are all in their 70s in a big rush to get out and tour before they're too old to do it. And they're somehow fitting together, which is incredible. So good for him. Yeah. And
good on him for sure.
Yeah. So I got so many things to talk to you about. Well, ask you about, really, more than talk to you about, because for one, you started a production company in the most nutty time that our industry has ever seen, except maybe the year before that,
Yeah.
But I mean, just complete batshit mayhem. And you guys start a company. And I remember I went and visited you guys pretty early on in your existence, in your temporary facilities. And you had like all brand new inventory. I've never seen a shop like that before, but like literally things were being peeled out of plastic and put into road cases, and
I think the cable rubber is still off gassing in there.
It was unreal. I'd never seen that much new equipment in any one place, except maybe a trade show, but I've never seen it and I didn't realize it until I was there walking around. I was going, everything's new, like brand new, like a month ago new. And so, yeah.
It was an interesting time to do that. It's a lot of people, this whole company, Gateway, I refer to as the company, it was kind of, it sounds, not to sound cliche, but we were literally born out of the pandemic. The 4 of the partners that were there, instead of sitting around going, oh my God, what are we going to do, through the help of our owner, and we all said, well, let's do this. So during the pandemic, it was a good time, A, to focus on what we were doing, and B, it was at such a low time in the industry for both people, as we all know, but also for manufacturers, Marcel. So being able to, have the luxury and the affordability, if you will, through the owner, to be able to go to our partners, the Roby's, Tyler Trust, when everybody's just going, holy shit, what are we going to do? We're sitting here going, what do you have? We'll take it all, which in some stances that, it helped kicks people back up into manufacturing again. So to even say you had a small part in something like that is the most gratifying thing
ever. You guys launching a business literally, helped probably, I wouldn't say helped keep some manufacturers in business, but it certainly, fed the well a little bit, or a lot in some cases. I remember one story, and I won't mention exact names or anything, but I got a call from one manufacturer slash distributor who said, those MFers over at Gateway bastards. And I said, what, you don't like them? And he goes, no, I love those guys. And I said, well, what's wrong? And he said, they just ordered 4,000 clamps from me, which means they bought 2,000 moving lights from somebody else. And
yeah. Oh yeah.
and,
I got a feeling I know who you're talking about.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know who you bought them from, and I know
Yeah.
who the other guy is. And it was just a funny, it was a funny story because he was so pissed off that he didn't get the lighting order, but happy for the clamp order, of course, right? And
Yeah,
he
well,
did okay. He did okay. Let's face it. Yeah.
It all trickles down.
Of
You know,
course
it
does.
really does. And building it at that time, also, when you're building something from scratch, it's daunting. As it's like, holy shit, we, we don't even have any rack screws in here. It's building something from a concrete floor. But it also gives you the ability to take your different disciplines and marry them together with like departments, cables, distros. As you all know, we've all been there, either through acquisition or just time. Oh, I've got this distro. Well, shit, it doesn't work with this particular
Yeah.
discipline, or this
Yeah.
doesn't. And actually having the ability to go through and do those sort of things, from the ground up is,
Yeah.
scares the shit out of you in one aspect, but it gives you, it's really nice to have all of your disciplines looking proper.
Yeah. But do moving lights still ship without plugs on them?
It depends on the artist. Yeah, well, everything now is, most of it's, true one. Thank God we have those. But
Yeah.
a lot of them is like it's an option. What
No, but I
plug
was
do you
just
want?
wondering, like, even just getting in thousands of moving lights and having to put plugs on all of them before you could rent them all, like, that's a project, Everything
Well,
about it, like, it's
inventory
crazy.
control, and just getting your, the inventory set up, to the barcoding, and things like that. We were really, fortunate we were able to go RFID on almost
Yeah,
everything,
I remember
because
that. Yeah.
because everybody in the shop loves to scan gear in and out, not
Yeah.
so we're, at
Yeah.
least they've got these little crazy wands now that they can just kind of wave their hand over a bin and go, yeah, there's 53 pieces of DMX in that box, or
Oh, geez.
that type of stuff.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
efficiency.
But the thing is, like, you guys were in a position to look either like complete assholes or geniuses. And in the end, I think it worked out in your favor, because you were spending a lot of someone else's money, obviously, and convincing him to write those checks. And oh my God, it worked out, Well, and also you saved him a lot of money, because if you would have waited 6 months to buy that stuff when everything was back ordered, and you couldn't have got those 2,000 fixtures that we were just talking about, and all of the other gear. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just starting to catch up now.
Yeah.
As you well know,
Of
but
course,
it's
yeah.
like, hopefully everybody's getting back on their feet, and lead times are getting less and less, which I'm seeing that, which is,
Yeah.
it's
Some
good for
things.
growth.
Some
Yeah,
things,
some things.
I mean, as you probably know, MA consoles are a year out or whatever. Digico, some of the Digico stuff, some of the D&B stuff, some of the L-Acoustic stuff. I mean, just a lot of the hottest gear outside of moving lights is still really long lead times.
Yeah, I mean, things that you would think is like, oh, well, they've got that. Well, we're waiting on this specific chip for all of this. It's kind of like the car business was. It's like, we've got all this stuff sitting here, but we don't have the flux capacitor per se.
Well, Dave, what has shifted now, because that was sort of the early problem. Most recently, most of the people I talk to anyways, it's more of a capacity problem now than
demand.
Chain.
Can they ramp up manufacturing fast enough to fill the demand?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I talked with the CEO of Digico recently, and he told me, like, we don't have supply chain problems anymore. It's just we have capacity problems because our demand has gotten so big. And, at what point do you look at your factory and go, we need to double the size, because is this going to keep going? Is it going to keep going? We don't know. I mean, I've shifted my views on that too, to where I do think this is a sustainable growth pattern that we're in right now. Like, I didn't for the longest time. I kept saying, you know, the wheels are going to come off this thing and we're going to kind of go back down and flatten out again. But I don't know, man. The appetite for live music, as you know, is just insane right now.
It's huge, you know, and everyone wanting to go out, and the buildings are having the same struggles. Like, holy shit, capacity, supply, demand. There's only so many places that they can route in, and
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
with pro sports being as they are, the inventory on the venues are it's
Yeah.
I don't know that it's an issue, but it's definitely a concern.
From what I
When
hear,
you're
it is an
routing.
issue. Yeah, I was
Mm-hmm.
talking to a promoter the other day, and that's one of the power moves that's happening right now is where Live Nation obviously is making their power moves on venues, but smaller promoters are just getting squeezed to a point where it's either an Indian tribe that owns the local market, or it's Live Nation, or it's someone else, but the smaller independent promoters are really struggling to hang on to venues right now, because
Yeah, no
there's
question.
gold in them, their buildings. Uh,
Yeah.
I was just talking with somebody within, maybe it was yesterday or something. One of the oh yeah, it was yesterday. Um, and we were talking about basically with the move to stadiums now for all of the large shows, again, just to hit the demand or try to hit the demand. I don't think that's going away now either. Like, it seems like there's 75,000 people that want to see, Elton John or whoever. I mean, and
Yeah.
it doesn't even have to be the A list. It could be the A minus or B plus list right now too, are getting those stadium gigs.
Well, and how
And
they package them too. That's
exactly.
like
Yeah.
the Guns N' Roses, Def Leppard, Steve Miller, blah blah blah. Add your
Yeah.
three acts below. That's
Yeah.
that's a promoter's dream, and the
Right.
support act's dream, because they don't have to carry all the gear.
No kidding.
let
Yeah.
let the big
But
dogs eat and bring all the
but
gear.
we were talking about sort of how it's repurposing these stadiums to where stadiums might have NFL games or soccer games or whatever, 25 times a year, 30 times a year, but concerts are so much more. They have the ability to really keep those stadiums busy a lot more. So now we're going to see not only more stadiums being built, but the stadiums being designed to sound better, because let's face it, they
Yes.
sound like
Well,
crap, usually.
Nashville is a good
Yeah.
example. The new multi-billion-dollar whatever, that's the move to have it more. How sexy can it be to be indoor and outdoor?
Yeah.
Because then that just, as we all know,
Yeah.
weather's a thing.
Yeah. Well, and even the ability to have like half a roof so that you could hang a rig from it, I mean, that kind of stuff is going to start being thought up, because I think now we're going to be over 50% of these arenas are going to be booked with concerts as opposed to sporting events. So,
Yeah,
hey, they're going to go where the money is, obviously. But it's an interesting topic. And, you see Metallica, like at this stage of their career. I had Dan Brown on the podcast last week, and we
yeah,
were talking about it. At this stage of their career, they're doing 2 nights in stadiums.
yep,
It's wild,
yeah,
wild. If you would have told me in 1974 or 78 or something that Metallica was going to be doing stadiums in 2024, I would have been like, what? What
yeah,
are you talking
yeah.
about?
Talk about if I was going to live this long, I'd have taken better care of myself scenario.
Exactly. Yeah.
Look at the shit. Look at the Stones.
Yeah.
They're
Unreal.
outdoing it.
Unreal.
I
But
think it's awesome.
the funny thing is, everyone is getting to that age now. It's like, I just saw that what's his name from the Allman Brothers died today, I guess. Um, what's his name? The guitar player, Betts. Uh,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
he died today.
Dicky.
80 years old, but you don't think that he's 80 years old, right? And when Cosmo told me, I think last year or something, Cosmo goes, Marcel, you want to feel old? And I said, what? And he said, everyone is in Aerosmith is in their 70s. And I was
Yeah,
like, what? You got to be kidding me. And it's
yeah.
true. It's true. So,
Just goes to show you the old guys have still got it, Marcel. there's an
Yeah.
appetite for them,
Yeah. So, I mean, opening, like we said, the timing being during this, not during the pandemic. I mean, you geared up during the pandemic, but post pandemic is really when you built this business. And, like the old saying, building the airplane in the air, while you're flying it. Um,
Yeah,
that's really
exactly.
what you did, because you had to hit the ground running. I mean, you guys were immediately doing lots and lots of work, right?
Yeah, we were very fortunate, and as like you say, not to sound too cliche, it takes a village, and the people
Yeah.
that we had involved, we were very fortunate at the time to be able to recruit some really high class and very talented people, all
Yeah.
the way down, to help us build this thing. And, having the relationships with the manufacturers for so long helps,
Yeah.
to
Of
be able
course.
to
Yeah.
get all that gear. But it's, I can't say enough about, on the production services side of thing, that the team that we've assembled and they're continuing to assemble, we're adding new people to the team all the time. And it's, it's very good, positive, organic growth. And that's
Yeah.
kind of how, I use the term boutique plus,
Yeah.
and everybody's like, well, hell, you're not boutique. Look at the amount of shit that you own. It's just like,
Yeah.
well, the boutique thing for us is more of a mentality of how we deal. We're selling one thing. We sell customer service.
Yeah.
And, and I'm all about, the bigger guys that have hundreds of accounts, and that's fantastic. But we kind of built this company with one thing in mind, was customer service, to where, people don't feel like they're a number. They feel like there's a relationship. And as the additive of, you build the machine, but be careful, instead of the machine feeding you, it starts eating you at a certain tipping
It's
point,
true, isn't it?
and
It's
being
true.
able to manage that level of the growth, I think, is the most exciting and difficult thing at the same time,
Yeah.
because
N-
we're not planning on being, to the level of some of the big guys. It's just not in the cards. We don't ever plan to expand into that level, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh, you're not going to open 42 locations in every country and
No, sir. No,
yeah.
sir. No,
That's
it's true. That's, my favorite thing in this business is strategic alliances,
mhm.
and I think the more of those, and I mean, that's a whole subject unto itself, of how the what I call the independence, if we will,
Yeah.
you know, going up against, the large people, Claire and those people that have just built an incredible, Troy, have been an incredible model with everything
Yeah.
they've done.
Yeah.
But it's just,
It's a
it's
monster.
the 800-pound gorilla,
Yeah.
them, and there's three or four of those, and who knows who's going to be acquired by who in the next 6 months. It's
That's
just,
true. Yeah.
whew,
Well, I mean,
trying to
there's
keep up.
one, four wall, obviously, something's going on there. Uh,
Hmm.
there's definitely more deals to be done. Like there's blood in the water right now, I think, and there's a lot of uh, sort of liquid capital. There's a lot of money that people are sitting on right now because the markets have been so screwy and interest rates are so high and all of those things. But as
Hmm.
that starts to sort of level off again and we get past this crazy election that's coming up, I think you're just going to see just a nutty market where manufacturers get bought by other manufacturers and a lot more rental companies rolling up and stuff. So the big will get bigger. I think you're right about that one.
Yeah, I like the small aspect, the
Hmm.
boutique size, and
Yeah,
there's truly a space for players of our size, and
of course.
the hundreds of other companies that are our size in this country. And there's a place for the big guys too.
Yeah,
It's I think
yeah,
it's thank God we all have enough to where no one's killing each other in the crossfire here. We
yeah.
all have enough to do.
No, I completely agree with you. And there's so much growth out there too that uh, you know, yeah, you don't. I mean, you do have to be big in that it's so capital intensive right now. Like you couldn't do what you guys are doing without a really strong backer and banks or whoever is continuing to support that growth. I
Hmm.
mean, the money these days is totally different than it used to be, where you could just kind of start it in your garage and then move into a little shop and then move into a slightly bigger shop. You
Yeah,
wouldn't be able to compete doing that stuff
yeah.
today.
to quote one of my dear friends, Mr. Ed Wanabo, he said,
Yeah.
"Entertainment's not cheap, son."
Yeah. He ain't wrong. He ain't wrong.
Boy,
It's completely true.
yep.
But any specific sort of learnings along the way while you built this thing again during this market that just kind of had a hockey stick curve all of a sudden? Like, you probably thought, I would guess that you thought coming out the gate you were going to be like, okay, we can do this nice and slowly and methodically because we're just coming out of COVID, and then
Mhm.
bam, you know.
Yeah,
So
it hits, and it hit hard. The beauty of this business is, you can try and plan as much as you think that you can, but there's always these curveballs. And how do we, I
it,
think the most important thing for me, what I look for is, as I refer to, strategic alliances. How can we help the bigger guys,
yeah,
and looking into secondary markets, things that require the gear that we have, that's not necessarily a concert tour. I mean,
yeah,
there's so much of the tertiary stuff that I'm putting a lot of my focus into that as well. Of course,
yeah,
we all love tours, and tours put a lot of gear out for a long time, but there's you know other things out there, like the professional bull riders, for instance. They're
yeah.
a very, very strong and solid account for us, but those guys have got 50-week a year CBS television contracts. They're on the air and they're doing a show, every single week.
Yeah. I mean,
So
that's the thing.
outliers, as I call
It's not just concerts that people have such an appetite for. It's live events of every kind, whether it's sporting events or, I mean, look at Formula One. Like, it's my son's birthday tomorrow, and he's a big racing guy.
them. Oh,
And I
yes,
went to
he
the
is.
mall. I went to the mall to look for stuff for him, and like every youth fashion store, like Hollister and American Eagle and all of those types of stores, they all have Formula One either branding or Formula One driver branding or racing, like Ford logos and stuff. Racing is nuts in this country now. Like, it's just getting huge.
No doubt about it. And the what's happened, in racing, even and to reference like PBR, for instance, even 5 years ago, the consumer has gotten so educated on what's good and what their expectation is of a show, even for okay, they get out, they're bucking bulls, they're riding, but now well, where's the 300 moving lights, and where's the gigantic video screen that's showing me the countdown clock and the
Yeah,
replay, the
yeah,
banner boards, and
yeah.
I think that's just kind
Totally
of
true.
gotten everywhere. The general public, the ticket buying people, God bless them, everyone, that keep us all employed, have gotten so much more educated. That's probably the
Yeah,
word that I like to use. Of their expectations are high.
yeah.
If they want to see a show, that's
Yeah.
this two trusses of lights doesn't get it anymore,
Uh-uh.
man.
No, no. They're fortunately for us. I mean, like, again, going back to F1, if you look at what they did in Vegas last year, you know,
Massive.
it was massive. And like every light, every speaker on a stick, every piece of gear in Vegas, every piece of truss, every LED panel was rented. And
Yep.
I mean, it was just completely nuts. And I know so many people, both in and outside our industry and inside the racing industry as well, who just said, this is a shit show. They're gonna pull the plug on this thing. And I think they re-upped for even longer, because it was such
Yes.
a success,
Multi-year. Of course.
massive success, and did they make mistakes? Absolutely. Will next year be better? Absolutely. But
Absolutely. Yeah.
but that ain't going anywhere. I mean, one of the biggest spectacles there is in one of the craziest cities there is, it makes nothing but sense. Logistically, is it hard to close down, Las Vegas Boulevard for a couple of weeks? Sure.
We all
Yeah.
joked about that. It's like, yeah, just think if you were Joe Blow off the street and says, "Hey, I got an event and I just want to shut the strip down for 2 weeks." How
No
much does
shit.
that cost? I don't think there's not enough PE money on earth that could even
No
fathom
kidding.
that.
No kidding. I mean,
But shit, they did it. Kudos to them. They did it and did it well.
and I had people offer me, tickets, invite to a suite or whatever. You couldn't have got me to Nevada, let alone to Las Vegas. I mean, you couldn't have got me to the Western US at that moment. I wanted
Yeah.
nothing to do with that. Plus, for me, racing, because I've been around it for as long as I have, and I watch it very closely, and I'm watching for small nuances and stuff. You can't see
Yep.
that while you're sitting holding a drink in the
Well,
stands or whatever.
you have an inside track to it per se, and congrats on your son's success too. I mean,
Yeah,
good
thank you.
God,
Thank you. He's
that,
doing all right.
that boy's he's doing damn good. You should be
Yeah.
proud. I know you are proud of him.
Well, maybe you could introduce him to your boss over there, and they can connect somehow because his father's run out
Get
of
a
money.
stick.
His father's
Get a
run out of
sticker on
money
his car.
to promote a racing driver. So he needs help at this point for sure. But no, he's driving amazing and he's having fun doing it. He was just in England again this past weekend racing. So yeah, he's having fun. But
Awesome.
so so I know that Gateway officially opens this year, right? The studios and the new buildings and all that stuff.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, we will be. We will be
Yeah.
this year for sure.
When do you actually move the production buildings over, like the production company?
Great question. We're actually in process of doing that. The production company is going to house just a few miles away from there. We're not going to be
Okay.
on site. We're
Okay.
actually moving in. Yeah, we're moving into a new warehouse right now, or we're transitioning into 115,000 square feet, I think, from where we were.
Yeah.
Closer to, because I mean, obviously keeping them separate is good, but holy shit, the cost of that real estate in Chesterfield, Missouri, where we're building that studio is crazy,
Yeah.
crazy amount. So yeah, that's already in process, and we're moving out of the two that we were in
Yeah.
and into one, getting everybody under one roof. We're
Yeah.
just so excited when you have disciplines that are in different buildings, although
Yeah.
it's, as you know, it's only 50 yards away, but
Still a pain in the ass, especially when
it's
it's
a pain in
raining.
the
And
ass.
yeah, no, I mean, I completely understand and agree. And
Yeah.
but
So that move is, we're hoping for May. Steve Washington, as you know,
yeah,
Steve's been
I like Steve.
championing that whole, as he's done many times with many
Yeah,
other companies. So I'm so blessed and fortunate to have him on our team to
Steve's a cool guy.
take that, please.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and
Steve's a
he's
cool
done
guy.
it. Yes, he is.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have an incredible amount of experience and talent and stuff. Like again, you look like geniuses at this point because you put together this large group of really great leadership and people back before there was any money being made, and so that's vision and foresight and all of those things, which could have gone badly and certainly hasn't. So.
So far, so good. Knocking on wood, as they
Yeah,
say.
yeah, no, it's super cool. So those are moving in now, and then when do you expect for the studios to open?
I think that right now we're tracking. I hate to sound so nebulous, but this year for sure, we're hoping maybe the end of Q3, first of Q4 to where we're in. But the biggest thing is there's so many parts. It's not just a black box. It's like
Yeah,
the permitting, the security,
of course.
the
Yeah,
kitchen, the
yeah.
catering,
Hmm.
the labor staff.
Yeah,
And,
you don't want to
there's
get Beyonce in there and have a bad experience, as your first client or something, right? You
no, and
can't do that.
we're definitely gonna run the traps and have people in there before we take on. There's a lot. Thank God, there's a lot of interest and people are
Yeah,
coming.
yeah,
We're just having to be very very, very calculated on when we take holds until we know. But the progress is, it's all the walls are up now, everything's up, the steel on the, you should come and see it. I get there every couple of weeks and I'm just astounded at the
yeah.
progress that's made. It's just, there's nothing left to the imagination now. You can
Well,
physically walk through all the buildings, all the
yeah.
space, and it's just like, holy shit, what have we done here?
Yeah. Cosmo had taken me over to before the ground was even broken at all. It was just like, oh, look, over there is where the building is.
dirt
And
dirt field.
I've been following I follow Gateway on all the different socials. So I've been seeing your pictures. There was an update, I think, yesterday. Just looks
But
incredible, but
photos do not do it. I mean, you say that, but it's the photos and the videos that you see online don't do it any. When you actually get there and sit in the middle of it and
yeah.
just go, whoa,
Especially the big one, huh? Yeah,
Yes,
that
Studio
big
80
one's got
is
to be impressive.
it. Well, all the studio support spaces and everything that you design, and as you well know, Marcel, when you live in paper and CAD drawings and computer screens, like, oh well, that looks like that's going to be pretty good size, and then
Right.
the studio support space is, now that that's roofed in, you're just like, my God, this
Yeah.
is, there's nothing small.
Yeah.
It's like
That is
Texas
so
Texas
awesome.
based building in Missouri, I guess.
You know
Everything's big.
what's interesting though, like we were just talking about venue shortages and stuff, but rehearsal shortage is a real thing. Like I had Mickey Kirbishley on the podcast recently, and he was talking about
Hmm.
that. The touring is growing so much, but right now it's becoming a real problem, not just for gear and people, but for rehearsal space is really becoming a problem. As much as has been built recently,
Yeah, and
the
it's
demand
getting
is
ready to be built.
massive. Yeah.
Yeah, others are coming online as well, which just tells that there's a demand.
Is that Nashville one real? The elevation or
I
something?
I think that went by the wayside,
Did
but
it?
I believe that there's the Lidditz group, the Rock Lidditz group, is
Oh,
definitely
okay.
planning on building a couple rooms in Nashville.
As they would, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, of
I remember
course.
the elevation one either right before or right after you guys announced. They came out with pretty bold plans, but I guess that fell
There
apart.
was Yeah, that one, and then there was one here in Hendersonville that was going to go up, a film
Uh,
and TV thing. And I think
right.
that kind of fell by. And
Interesting.
the you can only get, in the Nashville market. There's very few places. The Annex is going away there at the arena.
Hmm.
Municipal, you can only book a couple days. And
Wow.
Scott's got his place over there at the steel mill still, but there's very limited spaces now that you
Yeah.
can go in and do this.
Well, good for you.
We're we're
you
bank
know,
we're banking on it, brother. Trust
have you
me.
guys got extra space just in case you need to expand? Have you got expansion room
Yes, we do. Yeah,
for
we've
future construction?
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Our owner has we'll just say has been buying some pretty good chunks of property in a very, very
Wow.
close proximity
Yeah.
to us.
Well, I mean, you guys have proven over the past few years that this is real, that there's money to be made and that that Gateway is a real company and you guys are real people and this is going to be successful.
It
So,
takes a while,
when are you
It's
brave enough to book an act in for rehearsals?
I would by the end of this year, I think Q4, you know.
So, if I called you and I had enough money, you'd book me in October 15th?
Yes, we would take we consider the hold.
Yeah.
It's so fluid, and I hate to say, nebulous about the day, but there's so many factors. The lion's share of the big chunk of the building is done, but now the finished stuff, as it's like building your house. You
Mhm.
you get it framed in, the sheetrock's in, you're like, holy shit, we're going to be in 30 days, and
Yeah.
well, the cabinets are 40 days late, and all that.
Yeah.
There's just
Yeah.
so many components. But yeah, we're hoping, towards the end of this year, and hopefully, Q3 if you go well,
Yeah, that's got to be a
But
bit
I'm kind
nerve
of
wracking though, because like I wouldn't want to say, hey Beyonce, yeah, you can have the building October
no the
15th, and then you got to pull it away.
no, we're just saying, this year is hoping for the best. But the biggest thing is, as we discussed earlier, Marcel, is that you have to make sure it's right. The
Yeah,
catering alone. I mean, hell, we've got a 7,500 square foot kitchen
that's
being
wild.
built in here.
That
And
is
just
wild.
just that alone, those little components that people don't think about is, it's like, okay, how do you ramp up to cook, potentially six, seven, 800 meals a day
That
right
is
out of the
wild.
chute? And as we all know, catering's pretty damned important, you
It
know,
is, yeah. Huh. And
extremely important.
so, did you guys hire somebody from the catering world to do that, or just somebody from the restaurant business, or?
It's a little bit of both. I think they were very close to locking down, but it's going to, someone from the concert business for sure.
That's
But
good, yeah.
there's other things that you have to consider in these studios. Is, of course, we're catering to the rock and roll acts, but the film and television side of things is very similar to concert catering, but private events.
Yeah.
You can
Oh,
go
really?
from everything to you know um, a Chick-fil-A sandwich a la to, Chateaubriand and, whatever for a high-end corporate event. Like if a large company wanted to
I
have
never
their
even thought of
shareholder
that.
meeting in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I never even
Oh,
thought of that. That'll be a big deal too.
yeah. So that's you know, catering to the, that's a big business.
Yeah, somebody could hire the Foo Fighters for their 50th birthday party or something and do it there with your catering business. That's wild. That is gonna
Yeah, buddy.
that is gonna be such a successful business. I got to get up there before it opens and get a look around before it's too busy and I won't be able to look around.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, please come anytime, and anybody who's
yeah,
listening out there in geezers and give me a buzz.
yeah.
We're giving tours now.
Oh,
It's
really?
something you really have to see it. You have to walk it to kind of get the size of the scope of what's
Yeah,
happening.
I definitely want to get up there and see it because, like I said, I saw when it was dirt, and uh,
Hmm.
and I want to see it now. But that's going to be exciting. I mean, it's just going to be another exciting component to the whole gateway business. And I had Jeff Cranfill I recorded yesterday,
Hmm.
and their concert stuff thing is really
Yeah,
interesting. How they just added all these different components. Oh, well, we need extra, somebody needs tour buses, really? Oh, okay, well, let's have a tour bus company.
yeah.
So
Chairs and barricade, and him and Jim. Those
exactly.
guys have. It's a great. It's another. That's another out of the box thinking
Yeah,
conglomeration.
it is.
They've
It
all
is.
they've all
Yeah,
done very well with that.
we don't need $100 million lighting company. We want $100 million group of companies or whatever, right? So
Yeah,
with each of them being profitable in their own right, but maybe not the biggest this company or the biggest that company, but they're all very good and customer service focused and all that stuff. But um,
strategic alliances.
yeah. One of the things that I thought was really interesting when I had your whole group on the podcast a couple of years
Hmm.
ago is that you've got like a management by a collaborative approach, um, where, it was like four guys or whatever. Is it still the same basic approach?
The approach is exactly the same, and the team's just gotten bigger.
Oh,
And but the way that Trey, our CEO, and our owner, and everybody involved with us have got a very it's hard to say. It's not a dictatorship by any stretch. It's a committee, and we all, everybody has their areas of expertise. And
mm-hmm.
fortunately, the people that we have involved, the Andy Gerbers, the Steve Washingtons, Cosmos, Kevin Hoyle, all these people that have come from different disciplines with a great
Mm-hmm.
deal of experience, we all lean very heavily. Brian Karp, who's our COO, comes from the venue side of things,
Yeah.
Live Nation for so many years. And it's just a great melding pot to where we all get together biweekly and have our executive leadership team meetings, if you will, and kind of hash everything out from every perspective, and it's not cliche, but it's built, the company and the buildings were, it's built by production people for production people,
Yeah.
and
So when you
it's,
go into those meetings, does everyone just basically from each discipline brings their two biggest problems or two biggest opportunities or whatever, and you kind of throw it all in the center of the table, and everyone discusses it, and you kind of do it like a
yeah,
board
very,
would. It's like a board
it's
meeting
it's a,
almost.
it is a board meeting. That's kind of the the executive teams that we have are kind of that we are the board. We're running the company, we're selling the company, we're you know building the company and
Interesting.
discussing everything as a group, because it's just so much easier, and it's fun to be in business with people that you like, you
Yeah.
know and
Yeah.
so many companies, as it doesn't happen that way all the time.
Yeah.
We've been able to keep this boutique both in size and in operations and management and execution to a group, a nice group of people, and hopefully, knock on wood, that'll we'll be able to continue to support that for many many years to come with
Mm-hmm.
this style of management.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very cool. I mean, it's I've always struggled with I wouldn't say the democratic approach to running a company or whatever, but
Hmm.
like when I guess I've always just been such an entrepreneur that whenever anybody wants to slow me down, I get frustrated right away. So I don't know that I'd always, I guess if it's somebody else's company, because I sit on some boards And
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
when it's someone else's company, it's much easier than when it's my own.
Sure.
If I have my own company and a group of people making decisions like that, it's a bit more frustrating. But or I wouldn't
Somebody
say
has to be the
frustrating. It's just
boss, you know.
yeah.
Somebody has to be the boss, but
Well, and at the end of the day, that's
it's
the role I like. It
yeah,
is. I like
exactly.
living and dying by my decisions. And I take responsibility for them, regardless of who screwed up down the line.
Hmm.
So. One of the things that I think I just woke up from a year-long sleep or something, but I just read this morning because Live Design sent out an article about fish doing this little residency in the sphere. Little,
Yeah,
I
that
mean, short. I
they
meant.
start they start tonight. As a matter of fact, tonight's the first show.
Yeah. So you guys have involvement in that? I think that's
Oh,
a
oh,
gateway account.
yeah, yeah, it is. We do. We on the touring side, we provide the video and all of the lighting and the rigging for fish on their tours.
Okay.
Um, and
They
so
don't need
enter
any
in a
video, I heard, for this one.
well, well which is really, and they've hired, Abby's coming in to be the creative on it,
Right.
and it's another great. I'm not in it every day, much like our CEO Trey is
Yeah,
the video
Trey. Yeah.
director for
Yeah.
them, and Jesse is
Yeah.
obviously the production manager, and Gary Brown is on our team now
Right.
is in
Trey's the
operations.
video director. Oh my goodness. So I'd love to
So
hear what that has been like. you know?
it's well, and there's a lot of creative people brought in because obviously the band wants it to be every bit of the spectacle it can be. I can't speak for the band by any stretch, but there's a it's going to be an amazing 4 events. I know that for a fact because if you think about it, it's kind of rebirthing something new. Fish is a band who predominantly the visual element is lights,
Yeah.
always has been. Chris
Mhm.
Carota and Giff, absolute masters at that thing that they've developed as
Yeah.
Fish.
Yeah.
So take the big lighting show out of the equation,
Yeah.
and also a band. Fish, when I say we do the video, we have a broadcast trailer that Trey's cutting like 20 something cameras a night for Fish just to stream. There's no video screens. Fish historically never
Ah.
has video screens. So
Oh.
take a take a band that doesn't have video, take away the lights, and a band that doesn't do a set list.
Wow.
It's like
That's crazy.
thank God for the creative team they've assembled is it's going to be amazing. I don't know the camera count is. I mean, it's up into the 40s now.
Oof. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm sure I could probably but I mean, Trey's very good. He's experienced. He knows the band. He knows the material. It's little things like that with Fish that are so crazy because the catalog is thousands of songs, and you never know what's going to come next. Just those guys look at each other and going, go. So you can imagine
No, but
it's, Give me what to
obviously,
do in G minor. Holy shit, put it on.
but
Go,
sphere in the sphere though, like I mean, obviously, you know, it's the world's biggest TV or whatever you want to call it, right? Like it's just enormous, and so that I'm more curious about that than I was for. I guess I was pretty curious for you too because it was the first one. Um,
Sure.
and I've got mixed feelings on it, and I've talked way too much about it, so I won't go into
Hmm.
it now. But I've got mixed feelings. Again, I'm a lighting guy. Uh,
Right.
that's what I've always been is a lighting guy, and so a concert without much lighting, with just sort of key lighting, and you can't really see the band. You got to look a couple minutes to see the band. Where are they?
Yeah.
I can't find them, with this
Yeah.
video orgasm thing that's going on in front of me. But
Nonstop.
but
Yeah.
again, Fish being such a visual band,
Oh,
Fish,
it'll
Pink
be
Floyd, Grateful Dead, I think those are bands that kind of fit the vibe of that place, right?
100%. And I know it's going to be visually and orally, audibly stunning because I know Gary has been, we'll just say, working in a space where all those channels were available to him
Oh,
to where he can really move things around. So I mean, I'm sure Gary's a very very good front of house engineer. So I'm sure that'll be pretty exciting as well. What they end up doing,
yeah. I mean,
with
I don't care
audio
how
in there
good
as
you are
well.
until you walk into something like that, and
Hmm.
that sound system being as crazy as it is, uh, you know, everything's new. Like it's just like wow. But
It'll be awesome though.
yeah, it'll
One
be
thing about
super fun.
Fish is Fish doesn't put on a shitty show and they don't put on a shitty presentation.
Yeah,
Those guys are very, very involved and adamant about perfection, the
yeah,
management all the way down. So it's going to be something, for
yeah.
these 4 nights. It'll be
Well,
interesting to see how it all, pans out. And I guess the world will know in about 12 hours how the
yeah.
first night
Thank
went
thank
anyhow.
God for YouTube. I'm gonna. Well, are there any
Well, they're
actual
streaming it too.
broadcasts? Oh, are
Oh
they?
yeah, I believe I don't want to quote, but I think Live Fish, obviously that's their whole thing.
Oh,
I know it's streaming. Hang on, let me just.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, because then you don't have to rely on these shitty
Yeah, Live
iPhone
Fish.
videos
Yeah,
on.
it's on. I'm passing things as I'm looking, right, and it'll be on Live Fish,
Oh, cool. Well, I'm
and
gonna
then
have to
obviously,
look that up.
yeah,
I just want to see it.
experience it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
want to see. I want to see what it looks like and hear what it sounds like, and you know, I'm curious. Like I'm curious every event that goes into that place right now because again, I have such mixed feelings, and so yeah, I mean the UFC fight that's booked to go in there that one's got me really curious. What's that going to look like? You know, because I'm a big fan of mixed martial arts, and what's that going to look like? You know, I don't
yep.
know. It's
It's
all very bizarre.
yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see it all, all
Yeah.
pan out. I'm sure it'll be amazing.
So you're not rushing out there this weekend?
I'm not actually. I've got other things to do, and there's plenty of people there,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's gonna it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
It'll be amazing. It's gonna be interesting to see you know, all those fish fans doing what fish fans do in a
Really? Yeah.
whoa.
No, that's
It'll be an
exactly.
amazing.
I said that in the intro that I did before you got on. I just said I envision a bunch of, stoners looking up at the biggest TV in the world and going, "Whoa," But
And it'll be done well too. It'll
yeah.
be done it'll be the biggest. It'll be the biggest trippy TV they've ever seen, I'm
Oh, I'm
sure.
sure. I'm sure. Yeah, that'll be interesting. So what about I mean, you have enough going on professionally obviously, but
hmm
any special projects or anything fun outside the Gateway walls for you?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we we've started a nonprofit. And I don't even know if not many people are aware of this. It's myself, Jesper Luth, who
Yeah.
Mark Haney, Faye McMahon, and Cosmo Wilson have started. It's called BehindTheScenes.org, and what it is we're preserving. It's a website and an organization that's dedicated to preserving the history of production, the stories, everything of the guys.
Wow.
And we've got the website is up now, and we've got all of our 501c together. So now we're looking at really getting it launched, and all of the anything that we generate from this and will all go to, you know, uh, like a music cares type of thing, all to support road people. So calling out to anybody, manufacturers, anybody who wants to get on board with it. It's behindthecurtain.org,
So
and
what
check it out.
what is it going to be as far as like I love the concept obviously. I mean cuz I do something similar with Geezers of Gear where my whole goal is to try to capture great stories from a group of people who's not going to be here forever, so
That's
i-
ex-
in
that's
some
exactly
sense,
it.
yeah, in some sense it's just a vault for lots of really really good stories and uh just learnings from the founders of the industry and stuff, like people who didn't have moving lights and had to create park cans out of pineapple cans or whatever.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I love those stories. It's why I do this for sure.
Yeah, and it's kind of a place here where we're putting it together, and
Yeah.
it's because the industry, if you think about it, we're only like 50 something years old.
Yeah.
The when people, Roy and those people figured out how to flip a motor upside down, and oh my
Exactly.
God, and Michael
Yeah.
Tate and the things he was doing.
Yeah.
But it's all about curating that. It's the gear, and we've got some of the people, the PLSN people, and some of Terry's group. Kevin Mitchell's involved with us, and
Mm-hmm.
So it's exciting, and it's just something to give back a little bit and preserve the history of all these guys that the old geezers like ourselves that are you know are not going to be around long. Much as we were talking about some of the artists, and it's about preserving it. We're
Let me
not
know
so
if
much
I can
looking to be
help.
a mute. Yeah, and hopefully this podcast will. So anybody who's out
Yeah.
there listening, feel free to check out the page, and you know we'll take all the help we can get.
Yeah.
Because I think it has the ability to generate some good things and fund a lot of things for people that really need it.
So I'm sure you know this, but there is a behind the scenes charity in our
That's
industry.
yeah, and we're I think there would be a nice possibility of everybody kind of getting together on that. This is more
It
about
makes some sense.
this is more about telling the telling the story. It's celebrating the history of the people and the technology
Yeah.
operating behind the scenes in concert touring. We're more special. This is more about concert touring. Is
Yeah.
kind of where our primary
Yeah, where
focus is
behind the
right now.
scenes is more theater and television, and it's more
Correct.
broad, I guess, but very much not specific to concert touring.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, that's really cool. Congrats
That's
on that. I like that.
Thank you.
And
Yeah,
again, if I
that's
can help spread the word or do anything, just let me know.
just
I've certainly got some content. So,
well, I mean, and that's something that it's and people are starting to donate some of this content into this vault. Because
yeah,
what are we going to do with it all?
yeah,
It's hopefully
yeah.
curating it into one place that where people will go to, and education. It'll be educating people. That's something we need more of these days, as you well know, with especially with people and trying to fill the void on what we don't have in people right now.
It'd be
I think the
really,
lineage and the
it'd be
history is
really
as
cool.
important as.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
It'd be really cool to have, the studios have a room somewhere or even in the restaurant area or something,
Well,
like Hard
imagine,
Rock with all the stuff.
imagine I think there's a very strong possibility there might be a place that could house
Yeah,
the diorama, or if you will, or
exactly.
that you can come out. Yeah,
Exactly.
we've got plenty of space for stuff like that.
Yeah. No, that's really cool.
Yeah, but
Awesome.
we've been, everything's going good. We're, we're doing, a lot of integration and installs, and we've got Kenny on. We've got our little our fabrication department is up and running now, because I don't think we had that,
That's
and
another interesting thing. Like almost every touring lighting company now has a fabrication department, which was never a thing before. Like everybody just went to Tate, and now that Tate's so big, I guess it makes a lot of
well,
sense.
and trust me, I was just at Tate a couple weeks ago with one of our other clients, AJR, that was out that they're doing, and ours is we are not trying to be that type of fabrication,
Yeah.
nor to compete with our friends, the Gallaghers or the All
Right. Yeah.
Accesses. Ours is more nichey things like building carts for lights, or
Yeah.
building that specialized angle piece to where you don't have to handball every light. Ways to
Yeah.
do solutions that make it better. That's kind of what our fabrication is. And
Yeah. That
like
makes a lot of sense.
we just did for the video, the Parabas Open out there in Southern California. We had like 103 screens on that thing, and customizing, fitting that screens into that. There was a lot of customization done on angle brackets and things like that. Those
Yeah.
sort of niche things that we do is it's a service. It's a service for the client that
Yeah.
at the end of the day makes the crew really happy too.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it makes huge amount of sense. So that's
Mm-hmm.
cool. And I mean, finally, I know you also get involved with the Humane Society, right? You're a big animal
Yeah,
supporter.
yeah, I'm a big dog supporter. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's near and dear to my heart. Adopt, 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 and please,
Yeah.
and adopt responsibly.
Yeah.
You know.
Sarah, who's our producer sitting in the green room listening right now, she lives on Crete, and
Mm-hmm.
I guess there's a big feral dogs and feral cats problem on Crete. And
Mm-hmm.
so, she's typical freaking woman, heart bigger than a brain. And and so
Easy
she's
now.
she's got
She's
like
gonna
40
smack your
47
ass.
dogs and 47 dogs and 17 cats or something. So she's It's funny because every time, and actually right now, I can see her in the green room, and she's got cats climbing on her and stuff. So, you know, it's a thing. I have friends down here who are like that too. Like I'm too irresponsible to have those kind of responsibilities. You know, my son's 19 now. He doesn't need me to keep him alive anymore, thank God, because God knows I could have failed. But
you're gonna need him later.
yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Remember that.
No, you're right about that. But yeah, so I've never been a lots of pets kind of guy. Like my ex-wife always had a dog, and I tolerated, but I'm allergic too, so I don't.
Yeah,
I'm not
we
too big on
Molly and
pets.
I we have two children. We always have two dogs. You know,
Yeah, that's
our
cool.
our our, our current group is Chili Pop and Mambo. Those are our two
Chili
children.
Pop. That's
Yeah,
funny. I like that one.
yeah.
That's
She's
awesome.
the female and the alpha and runs the house, and he's a pit and boxer mix who's a little on the spectrum. So you know, it's a happy family. It's a normal
Ah,
house here.
good times. Well, Dave, I really appreciate you taking some time today to do this and giving us an update on what's going on with the studios and stuff. I am going to try and get out there before it opens, probably, uh,
Yeah,
just to take a walk around and go, whoa, you know?
yeah. Would love to have you, and you know, anybody else out there that's listening that's got interest, you know, please reach out to us. You know,
Yeah,
it's the website's an easy way to get us. You know, GSPS.com, pretty easy to figure that out.
yeah,
Gateway Studios and Production Services, and
perfect.
you know, as we continue, and I'd love to be back on as things progress a little bit more. But
Yeah, we will. Well,
we're blessed, man. We're very blessed.
I'll get you walking around with a cell phone one day or something, and you can give us a tour on the
Oh,
podcast, and so people can see it.
100%.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
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 All right, Dave. Thanks so much,
Bring a
man.
big battery. Marcel, nice to chat with you, friend.
And you as well. Good luck to you
Okay,
this year
man.
with getting everything done and opened and
Oh, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make
good.
it. We have no option. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
Yeah.
See you later.
Thanks, Marcel. Okay.